Hey everyone, it's Makita here, MK. This week I'll be showing you how I added ruffles to this dress that I made last week. If you would like to learn how to make it, please check out the link in the description box below. This method can also be used for trousers, skirts or anything else you wish to add a ruffle to. So what we're going to do is fold our item in half and then measure the bottom width to see how long it is. Once you have that measurement, you just need to times it by 4 to get the full circumference, and then we're going to times it by 2 to see how long the ruffle should be or how long our material needs to be. So once you have got the width, you just need to decide how long you want it to be. I picked about 5 or 6 inches, but also bear in mind a seam allowance. I didn't bear in mind a seam allowance because I wanted to have that overlook stitch showing. So yeah, it is quite a long piece of material to work with, so you can cut it in smaller bits and then just attach them all together. Now to get the gather, we need to put our machine on a straight stitch and loosen the stitch on the bobbin and on the top stitch. When you start, don't overlock and try and keep it as close to the top as possible. Also, leave a bit of string before you start and where you end. It will just make it easier for when you start gathering. So now for the fun but very long part. What you're going to do is you're going to grab your bobbin stitch and gently pull the material away from it. I stress on the gently just because if you pull it too fast or pull it too hard, it will snap and you have to remove the whole stitch and start over again. So if it takes you an hour, let it take that hour because it's not worth having to start over again and rushing it. Also, just to add, if your material is quite thick, you may want to do that strip stitch twice just so you have the 2 bobbin stitches to hold the material as you pull it. And when I say the bobbin stitch, I mean the stitch that's at the back of the material, or the bobbin. Once you're done, you'll have these beautiful gathered ruffles, and you can play about with how full or spread out you want them to be. So now I'm just pinning the ruffle to the dress. Like I mentioned before, I want my ruffle to be showing, which is why you can see it. Just take your time and pin around. You may need to move your gathers around to make sure that it fits around the circumference of whatever you're adding the ruffle to. And just make it as equal as possible. It's nice if it's like, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but if you can get them equal, that's also fine. But just make it to however you want it to look and take your time and pin it around. I started to pin at the same direction as the ruffle, but then I realised that I'm just causing more work and hassle for myself for when I start sewing. So that's why you can see me changing the pin to the other way. I know it's a whole lot of pins, but it's so worth it. And if you can do it the first time, why not do it right the first time? So now we're just going to take it to our machine and do a straight stitch all the way around over the loose stitch we did before. So you'll be able to see the long bobbin thread that I'm moving out of the way. Do not cut it yet, just in case you want to move your gathers around or make any changes, but just move it for now so you don't stitch it while you're stitching around. So I'm leaving a bit of space from where I'm going to start stitching around, just because I didn't overlock the sides beforehand, but I can do it after. So I'm just going to leave a bit of space and then overlay it afterwards. Remember to put your machine back to its original settings just so you don't stitch around and then realize that you've got it on a loose stitch, because I've done that before. As you can see, the position that I have the pins in is making it very easy for me to remove them and then place them in where I put my pins. I just find it makes it easier to go around and make sure that it's neat and everything's in place. So this is what I was speaking about before. I've now overlocked the sides and I'm just gonna overlay it and then do a straight stitch to close it. Now we just have to iron it out and just get it all nice and flat and in place. You know, I'll mention ironing quite often, but it's really important. And then pow, you're done. I really loved how this came out, and if you do try it, please let me know, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you have any recommendations or would like to see me make anything else, feel free to drop it in the comments.